have some legendary action on the way with some very, very potent talent.
So we're looking at the starting lineup sponsored by Jeep. There's only one. You know, it's pretty familiar lineups if you follow both of these programs. UConn, as we'll get into, has dealt with some injuries, but this has been the standard starting lineup for them in the last few weeks, in the last few games. Aliyah Cook is having one of her best seasons. And of course, there is Aliyah Boston, who is the reigning National Player of the Year, and a lot of people will have that matchup on their mind.
And you understand why. These are two premier players in the post, but South Carolina brings a lot when it comes to the inside presence for UConn to have to handle.
Pualani, Spurlock, Welch, Jeffrey Smith, Katie Lukanich, the officials here today from the XL Center. The tip going to South Carolina. The last time that these two teams met in the national title game in Minneapolis. And South Carolina gets the first two. Victoria Saxton.
What a dime. How Aliyah Cook sees the floor is something that is so incredible, and her ability to thread needles in small spaces is something that's allowed the rest of her teammates to flourish.
Leads the team in scoring, some of the best shooting percentages, career-high shooting percentages for her here this year. Aliyah Cook. Dorka Uhas, the Ohio State transfer, playing in year number 2 with UConn, misses, but Aliyah Edwards with the offensive rebound and putback.
Rebounding is going to be a factor. It is South Carolina's strength on the boards, but for UConn to be able to clean up some of those misses is going to be critical.
South Carolina dictated the pace and the tone in that national title game. The first quarter alone, you talk about rebounding, 7 offensive rebounds, 9 second chance points, forced UConn into 5 turnovers. Pace will be important for both of these teams in the first few minutes. Now 4-2. Off the mark that time.
And for South Carolina, continuing to rotate and shift this UConn defense is something that is going to be impactful. On that possession, they're a little bit stagnant.
There is one of the key transfers, Lee Lopez-Seneschal for UConn, out of Fairfield. And Dorka Uhas with the protection out of the gates and lights this place on fire.
Nice job, transition defense for UConn, getting back on a South Carolina team that's going to look to run.
Not there for Saxton once again. And South Carolina 0 for its last 5 on the move and the push, and Mule gets fouled.
Very critical for UConn, understanding the depth that South Carolina plays with, how many players they have to throw at you. That is certainly lacking for UConn. Gina Oriana, we know about some of those key players in Paige Beckers, AZ Fudd not playing today, Caroline Ducharme, but even throughout the course of the season. And so the smarts and intelligence of the game, of how that tempo and pace will work, is going to factor in.
Takeaway, stepping right into the passing lane. Griffin has been so good as of late, and Aubrey Griffin gives UConn a 4-point edge.
He's got this entire crowd on their feet.
Hesitation move for Fletcher, off the glass for 2.
I mean, that's a good play by Fletcher, the graduate senior, 4 years at Georgia Tech, just calming things down.
A foul call, and the first to Saxton. Eagles, of course, playing in the Super Bowl. The Philly native, proud of it, and wearing jerseys the last few games. Jalen Hurts a jersey. The late, great Reggie White, she wore one of his jerseys.
Basketball icon and fashion icon. We'll give it all to her.
You know what? She can wear anything and make it look good, right? Aliyah Edwards that time, and Edwards has got 4 points, 4 of the first 8 here for UConn. Feeding the post, it's Boston with the catch, and look at the white jerseys surrounding it. And a turnover, and back the other way here for UConn, but it was a UConn Husky swarm immediately at the catch. Gamecocks team, too, one of the deepest in the country that you'll find. Their second unit could arguably be a starting unit for most teams as Mule.
Nika Mule has so much moxie.
Boston taking it inside. No foul call. They're going to let him play a little. Since she grew up watching some of these UConn teams like Crystal Dangerfield is one of the players to try to emulate. Here's Peel at 1 3-point attempt, and just as the shot clock, they will review that now to make sure it counts. Lopez-Seneschal with a cutting and a walking violation.
You mentioned Raven Johnson coming into the game, a redshirt freshman. She has continued to grow and flourish, but she will uptick the tempo of this game.
going to lay off Raven Johnson. Give her that deep shot, it looks like. And off to Beal. Over to Cook. Zaya Cook taking it inside the Cook hands over UConn. We got a jump ball coming.
Aliyah Boston, Caitlin Clark, some of the front runners for the National Player of the Year. So it's tremendous to see them here matching up against one another.
How about coming out of that timeout? Griffin gets the end.
And especially as of late, her numbers have shot up, but overall the things that she brings to the table for this team have been very important.
Last 5 games, Griffin has averaged about 16 points, shot about 60% from the field. UConn's trying to chase it down. Good job on her knees, by the way, keeping that dribble. On the floor, Griffin, Juhas, Lopez, Seneschal, Newell, and Edwards here for UConn. A lot of choices there on the bench. We talked about the injuries. Paige Beckers tore her left ACL in the preseason. She will miss the entire year. AZ Fudd. Caroline Ducharme might be the player there on the next to AZ Fudd.
We're probably looking at about 60 points sitting on the bench there, but somehow the Huskies have figured out how to keep winning.
And Ducharme, you saw she was wearing the earplugs. And sometimes she's have to leave with the arenas being too loud.
Well, there's a lot of things that South Carolina is tops in the country at, in blocks per game. Look at opponent field goal percentage. I mean, there's a reason why they're undefeated. Would have just 2 remaining in the country along with LSU. But another big thing is their bench. Dawn Staley has a lot of options to use, and that's a big jump from even last season after they won the title.
Those are the first points, too, of Aliyah Boston, by the way, coming at the free throw line. Newell slides it up from distance, and how about that? That's an XL center. These fans don't care who's injured, who's going to be playing, who's not. They expect a big one here today.
Every opponent is scheming against her how to try not only slow her down and get the ball out of her hands.
Just recently named to be one of the top 10 picks for top center, the Lisa Leslie Award. Her and Dorka Juhas, by the way, are on that list. Special relationship, though, Aliyah Boston has with Asia Wilson, who was at the last game against Kentucky. Backdoor cut there for Newell and another bucket. Nika Newell now with 9 points. Johnson takes her first attempt.
Important to have UConn start to respect her range.
A bit cold of a start for Lopez Seneschal. Mentioned the transfer out of Fairfield. And up and down the floor, good catch there for Aliyah. In about 17 minutes, one of those bench players that averages about 97 minutes per game and about 40 points per game, if you can believe it. A turnover, the second group in that Stanford game that got South Carolina started with defense. Camila Cardoso has now entered the game, all 6'7". And here walks with it.
It's working on the inside, demanding that ball, and after the collapse, just a few too many steps.
It'll be a foul on Cardoso, her first.
She is a supreme athlete, and she can put you off the bounce on the attack and get to where she wants to on the floor.
Had to wait 587 days to play a basketball game again. And this game, this day, this kind of atmosphere is one of the reasons why she was excited to come back. Cook takes the handoff. Cook took a peek inside. Here's Hall with 4 seconds to shoot. Someone's got to pull the trigger for the Gamecocks, and running into a couple UConn defenders. There will be a blocking foul. Mihir, 72% free throw shooter here for the season. Juhas going baseline, trying to muscle it up. Boston got it.
Beautiful block.
Able to take it out, and it's Lopez Seneschal who went tumbling. Lopez Seneschal, what an important contribution and transfer she has been for UConn. In particular, we were thinking that she'd be playing with Paige Becker, she'd be playing with AZ Fudd, and we wouldn't have to depend on her making every single shot, but that's not the case. They're depending on Lopez Seneschal. UConn again showing this 2-3 zone. They will play some zone in spurts last year and this year. Cardoso with the catch, can't get the finish in final few seconds. Still some time to get a shot off. Lopez Seneschal launches it, goes on the glass. Oh, what a way to end the first. I got to congratulate you on, I guess it could still be kind of a new motherhood, right? Can I say that with your daughter Mila? born last May. So coming into this WNBA season, this will be the first full-time season you'll play as a mom. How are you going to go about handling both roles?
Yeah, it's definitely a challenge figuring out what we're going to do childcare-wise, but it's so fun. The team loves her. She loves being around everybody, so it's really cool to see their interactions. It's refreshing. Is there anything new? It's been so crazy this free agency already, just seeing where everyone's going. It's always really fun to see the surprises that come out.
Mule some creativity. She went off the back that time of Raven Johnson. By the way, Boston picked up her first personal. And Lopez Seneschal off the mark. So you're taking these two top teams. There's Sweet Johnson here on the push, and it's a blocking foul. You can count the bucket. And the way that Dawn Staley has kind of grown this program.
Yeah, I mean, you see players like Aliyah Boston. I mean, they're just so good. They're so tall. The first thing I said when we came on here, they have such tall players with South Carolina. I didn't realize, right.
Here on the push, you play on. Cook takes it inside, and she draws the foul.
You've worn these jerseys, you've been in their shoes, you've been in the locker room, you've listened to Gino on the sideline, but more so when you were with him every single day.
It forces you to become your best self. And so even logistically, how can we make it happen? We have to have all the owners and the teams make it sustainable so we can have it for more than just a one-season type of thing. So we're definitely past due in that regard.
Awesome. Good luck this upcoming season.
Thank you.
We'll be watching. We're proud of you.
Thank you, guys.
Leah Edwards to the free throw line. Wearing that mask in case you're not following UConn basketball. She got knocked in the head by her teammate Nika Mule. Wear it throughout the season.
Tough. I like it. Or she still wants to protect the moneymaker.
And there's probably some reason to that. Uhas again, just a smothering defense.
To protect the rim and the basket at all costs. But they're beating South Carolina at the spots and cutting off angles on most touches.
Largest lead for UConn has been 11. Cardoso does a good job just keeping the ball high, drawing the foul that time on Edwards. ACC Freshman of the Year.
And that's sometimes the toughest thing about players, and even players with talent, of knowing what you're going to get each and every night out.
Nika Mule being defended by Johnson. Underhanded pass to Griffin. Pulls and fires, leaves it short. Johnson with the rebound and the push. That's what Raven Johnson can do. Move it a little bit when she's in with these other Gamecock players, and the offensive glass and cleanup for Cardoso. UConn outscored South Carolina in the first quarter 25-14, but South Carolina has figured some stuff out in the second. Outscoring UConn 8-2 before that bucket by Edwards. UConn has the edge in this series, 9-3, but South Carolina has won 3 of the last 4, just barely grazing the rim on that cook-off rate. Here comes Nika Mule. Over to Edwards, hesitation, taking Cardoso to the right.
You like that, Hezzy. So what does she do that time? She gets her defender up in the air. Explosive move.
And Cardoso playing with the one personal foul. Deflection there from Griffin, but still possession here for South Carolina. You see that length, 6'7", but Cardoso couldn't put it down. Here stays with it. It's that persistence. Undefeated coming into today. 22-0 overall record. 10-0 in the SEC. Didn't want to accept the underdog tag because then he said that makes it seem like we're not capable of winning a game like this. It's Cook from the mid-range. Battling for it. Cardoso, and more second chance points. Mule to Uhas. Now 8 to shoot. Uhas up against Boston. And Aliyah Boston wrapping her up to Griffin. And here got a piece. Griffin had to put it up. And there is some of that South Carolina defense that we've been used to seeing in the Dawn Staley era.
They had 2 losses. He's saying, oh, that was maybe good for the team. Maybe it's good for you to learn from a loss. She said, I don't think that matters with this team. That ain't it. It's not what they need. Would they handle a loss? Yes.
Oh, what a battle. here.
And how she reads things. And I think that's going to be just with her, the patience. She's a senior. She can play 1 through 5, so she has an ability to be versatile on the floor. And you're seeing a lot of that here today.
He had played her with the 2 personals. How much do you trust a player in the first half to play him with 2 personals? 15 seconds here to shoot. Uhas looking for that handoff. Picks up her dribble. Quick hands there for Cook to try to break it up. Now 6 to shoot. Lopez Seneschal. The left hand leaning in. That little pump fake goes high. Grimes from the baseline. What a move.
At the end of her dribble, tough shot.
Post to post, a little high-low. Boston to Cardoso. South Carolina's going to bring a Uhas with the pull-up. Patterson was battling for it. It'll be South Carolina basketball.
That you're doing it within the rhythm of the offense. It allows you to get back set up here in the zone that UConn's been working with.
Johnson has played a heavy dose here in the first half, and she gets that one to soft touch. Single digits on the timer. Here goes Griffin. Wow, just smothered, but it's a foul call on a knee here.
The shot clock was winded down and just making something happen. A key factor for why they're sitting where they are.
After that miss, make it 10 of 13. Knee here. The post touch, Cardoso.
But it's getting underneath where her legs were at and where her positioning was.
Camila Cardoso standing at 6'7". And pursuing the offensive glass.
She's light on her feet, too. She can move.
Lead is cut to 2. South Carolina with a chance to take the lead. 10-second differential between game and shot clock. Boston with the handoff to Cook. 4 seconds to shoot. Zaya Cook off the mark, and there is Cardoso with the offensive rebound and put back to tie it at 34.
14th second chance point.
Griffin for the lead in the final few seconds, and isn't that good? 2 proud programs. Each have won multiple national championships, a top 5 matchup, and we're locked at 34.
Just what we asked for is the sharpness that they brought to the table, but you saw South Carolina start to settle in that second quarter.
You saw the sellout. This game has been sold out since January, the first time for a women's game since 2017, and you'll notice the throwback uniforms. I know some of the UConn faithful have noticed that in the first half, and out of the gate, South Carolina retakes the advantage.
But you saw how impactful she was, more so too just how South Carolina was operating as a whole.
Edwards blew right past the South Carolina defense for her first 2 of the second half. Cook with that hesitation. Boston with the cleanup job. Aliyah Boston, if you can believe it, her first field goal of the day.
They need to keep moving the basketball and try and find these seams.
Backdoor cut. It's Edwards for 2. Give the assist to Uhas.
Where UConn can find some of those windows to have better opportunities around the basket.
UConn played 5 players in the first half as Boston kind of muscles her way in for that 2. 40-38 advance. Slower start for both of these teams to open up the third quarter. Uhas going up against Boston and gets it to drop, and Boston a little bit slow to get up. 5 ties, 2 different lead changes between these 2 top 5 programs. Cook with the pump fake, heads baseline, and there's another lead change. Cook, who averages 15 points per game, she's at 5. Boston, who averages just shy of 13 points per game, she's at 7 here for the game. Taking it hard to the hoop.
Picture the importance of this game, and to me, I love that. That was part of the legacy of why they wanted to be a part of this organization.
Cardoso immediately kicks it out to Zaya Cook, who gets a post touch there to Boston. That double team coming once again. She wiggles her way out of it, pursues the miss, puts it back. That's a National Player of the Year move right there.
The mechanics, how she goes about it, trying to get the shot off. Uhas doing a good job at the double by Lopez Seneschal, but she just stays with the play. Her ability to body and strength through finishing through contact. I mean, that is just a monster play. Also in a game that is so tight, and we continue to talk about second chance points for South Carolina. She doesn't need to put up any monster numbers. The gravity she has on the floor opens things up for her teammates.
Ooh, what a move there by Griffin. Pump fake and 1! Fooled the whole Gamecocks defense.
Aubrey Griffin, we see you with the fake. Look at this little hezzy. Cross, finish. She embraces that contact and holds it on one side still finishes. We've been talking about her throughout the course of this one and just how impactful she's been for this Huskies team. Sitting 21-2.
And coming over, Johnson's going to have a couple free throws coming. 3 for Edwards.
And South Carolina has already played 9 players.
Griffin this time on the left side. Cardoso rejects her. Not today.
I mean, look at this tracking, the timing. That length and size is something that's such a challenge for opponents.
2 seconds now to shoot. Lopez Seneschal throws it up. Remember, she had that heave-ho at the end of the first quarter here today when high glass that set this building on fire. Johnson, what a move and what a pass. And what a finish. Cardoso in double figures. 13 points, her first bucket of the second half, and forcing a turnover. The handoff to Johnson. Again, Johnson starting the third quarter. She came off the bench at the start of this game for South Carolina. Now inside 2 minutes. Johnson with the feed. Cardoso with the finish.
Boston is pulled out a little bit to pull out the bigger defender. And because of that, South Carolina just feeling their other big on the inside, utilizing that size, 6-point lead here.
Gone about it her way. Cardoso with the challenge. Aliyah Edwards with the answer.
From the left block all the way across the paint to the right side. Talk about Aliyah Edwards as a National Player of the Year candidate. 17 points. She has just 2 rebounds. Did get into a little bit of foul trouble there at the end of the first half. She is a factor.
Johnson. They give her the three-pointer in the mid-range. Looks like the foul will go to Edwards. That is her 4th, which is huge. Likely through the third quarter, it'll be interesting when Gino Auriemma reinserts her in this lineup. Me here has just checked in, and a foul away from the basket. They get sick of hearing it, but it is a storyline. They've only played 6 players. And now at least 3 players with 3 or more fouls as Boston takes advantage of the out of bounds. Lopez Seneschal. With 15,000 on their feet, the block from Patterson. UConn trying to make a push. Couldn't get a shot off before the quarter clock expired. They'll wave that off.
And also her presence will help put Aliyah Edwards in some foul trouble.
And another 5-second call. Knee here. Back over to Johnson. All kinds of space. Got knocked down that shot. UConn continues to give it to her. Boston. Systematically, you feel like South Carolina just trying to wear down this UConn team.
You know, the fact that it's a 54-50 game in some ways for UConn and Gina, you gotta feel pretty good about that.
5-point edge. Lopez Seneschal. Patty bucket and 1.
That has opened things up and created space for UConn.
The second to Zaya Cook.
So UConn's pretty much been playing a box and 1 with Mulan Cook.
Wide open look. South Carolina. Bree Beal drains it. Backdoor cut. Griffin hit the catch. Mule saw it all the way. Off the fingertips. They concede that three, and Johnson knocks it down. Looking to win in one of the hostile environments, the most hostile environment that they've played in all season long. And Patterson gives it up. And here's her answer. Edwards checking in with 6:50 left to play in this game. Johnson once again. Can't go back to back, and the rebound to Lopez Seneschal. In and out dribble against Johnson. Oh, wow, that Hezzy gave her all the space she needed.
My goodness.
This crowd trying to act like a sixth player here for UConn, or rather maybe a seventh player, considering the circumstances. Cardozo, how about a second opportunity? How about a third? Draws the foul.
Position right underneath the basket. And at that point, there's not a whole lot you could do if you're UConn.
Pump fake for Edwards, and she gets the layup.
Yeah, Aliyah Edwards, this is physical, this is a chippy game, this is everything you want.
Receives the pass. And Aliyah Boston, you talk about the systematic way that South Carolina operates, and she's leading the charge. And we got a technical foul on Gino Auriemma, who has walked all the way out on the court. We also had a water bottle kind of flying out into the court. Watch the top of your screen here. At the left. Yeah, it did come from Gina. Really, the action was there on the sideline. Boston now a 79% shooter.
And what I'm trying to decipher is what
And he told us he felt like if it got to be a physical natured game, and we've talked about the foul trouble, it's certainly not favor UConn here today. Two players with 4 fouls, Lopez, Seneschal, and Edwards. Johnson from around that screen, decides to take it inside, gives it up to Boston from the baseline and that soft touch. Now it's the largest lead of the game here for South Carolina, plus 10. And Lopez, Seneschal, the Gamecocks have responded. In the second, the third, and so far here in the fourth. Boston, they'll give up the three, and just the third three-point net. She's only attempted 14 for the season. Edwards takes it, and Cardozo is whistled for her 4th personal.
She's coming off of a couple games that weren't quite to the standard of which she probably expected from herself, what she was giving this UConn team through the season, and she's been excellent.
She got to go up against Tina Charles in practice yesterday. How about that? How do you defend Aliyah Boston? Well, let's bring in Tina Charles to practice to give you kind of a good look at it. And yes, she signed all the papers to make it legal, for those wondering. Boston muscles her way in. She's got 25 points. Another double-double. Lopez Seneschal, that sidestep move goes high glass, found the window perfectly.
And does it over Aliyah Boston. Her ability to create space.
Perhaps credit, the South Carolina defense to take them out of their normal offensive rhythm. It'll be UConn basketball. So officially, it'll be UConn basketball with Edwards taking it out.
So Raven Johnson face guarding Nika Mealy. You want to keep it out of her hands to organize thing and run whatever set and play that UConn had initially intended.
Edwards surveying.
A lot of time is coming off the clock.
Yeah, she's got to make a decision. Challenges Cardozo, and that's number 5. We might have had a tap, too, to go on top of it. The officials will sort it out. And we know for sure it's 5 personals on Camila Cardozo.
Take a look right here. The foul gets called on the arm, and just the ball slam, I think, might have been the technical that was called.
That is her 5th plus technical foul.
Yep, and the technical foul is confirmed. 17 today, 18 that she put up as a season high earlier in the season against Memphis. Edwards with the technical free throws. And splits the pair. We got the personal foul shots to take, and then the technical free throws.
These individuals have played heavy minutes here today.
74-66. Time is ticking. Uhas catches the pass, goes off the glass, Make it 74-68.
You look for a steal. If not, you're going to look to foul.
And UHAS is one of those that you were talking about, Sarah. Just 2 personals now. One of the ones that's capable. Season percentages as a team. As a season, they sit just below 70%. Boston splits the pair there. But today, just about 80% from the free throw line.
UConn didn't go very quick the last possession, taking off some time here again.
Edwards for 2. And a quick timeout. It'll be the final timeout here for UConn.
One of these individuals that forces Edwards to have to foul.
Look at just the space that South Carolina, they get it in bounds, but Cook's in trouble. And a foul called.
I'm not sure there was a pass. I'm not sure that Johnson actually released the ball.
They'll call the personal foul on Nika Mule, her 4th. He did joke about spillage on the floor, but I don't think that's what he had. So let's see here.
Great camera angle. This is a handoff.
Yeah, it was a handoff. Wow, that's huge. UHAS will inbound it from the sideline. UConn's got to go and go quickly. UHAS for 3 from up top. Not there. Battle for the rebound. Edwards with the putback. And it's South Carolina that will call the timeout. Yeah, usually it's 30 or more for these starters, these UConn starters, as Mule hustles over. Now she's done. That's foul number 5, but she was forced to stop the clock. So a bigger lineup here for UConn. Without their point guard. An open opportunity. Cook misses the first. 4 of 6 now from the free throw line. Griffin across the timeline. And a new here. Whistle for the foul. UConn has gone with 6 players all afternoon. Pressure coming here for the Huskies. And time is ticking. They're avoiding sending Boston back to the line. They get it to the hands of Beal.
And a decent amount of time came off the clock.
Lou Lopez Seneschal fouled out. Inej Betancourt will check in for her first minute. Splits it. South Carolina trying to chase it down. There's a loose ball to be had. It's going to be a jump ball. And it'll be South Carolina basketball.
See, get the free throw miss on that second one, yet they still have possession.
Just an amazing stat. 25 offensive rebounds. That's above their average. And Johnson, the back and forth between Johnson and Fletcher at the point guard spot. And Griffin takes the contact. They'll count the bucket and the foul.
So an opportunity to make this a 1-possession game.
She does exactly that. 80-77.
And you've got 2 programs who have just continued to find ways to build a foundation of the ultimate success.
Yeah, UConn's got a foul immediately, and Griffin does exactly that. Some big free throws to try to ice it here.
One high school Naismith and Women Basketball Coaches Association Player of the Year.
Edwards flips it up. That'll be the final shot and final play of the game. UConn, this crowd tried its best to upset the #1 team in the country. South Carolina survives a thriller, 81-77.